Make that big boss less special. It ain't no game, but they saying welcome to the second level. Second level. Second level gaming. Second level.
Hello, Internet, and welcome back to our coverage of Pixelpop 2018. And we are right here with Jeffrey from Studio Triple Take talking about BulletBEAT. So BulletBEAT, I played them. Is it only on mobile, or is there a PC version as well in the mix? I played the mobile one, but is that all there is right now?
Yeah, it's only mobile.
Okay.
It has a lot of very precision motion controls.
Of course. Do you need this sort of the 6-axis situation going on?
Yeah.
So BulletBEAT is a rhythmic game that is kind of like I don't know. It's like a motion-controlled version of Space Invaders, kind of.
Yeah, it's like a.
Do you have a better explanation than mine?
It's a rhythm shoot 'em up. So you can tilt your device to move your ship around, but otherwise your firing, your enemy attacks, everything is synchronized with the music.
Oh, yeah, and the music is a big part of it. So the level that we played was mostly kind of like a club trance song that was going on. Would you care to give us a sort of an explanation of like where that idea came from to begin with, and also like maybe because you had mentioned there were other types of music too, and how that plays into the game overall? Yeah,
so for the idea inception, it's kind of like a two-parter. Mm-hmm. Originally, I was messing around with like 2 years-ish ago with Google Cardboard for Unity, and they have really accurate, precise rotation controls and stuff now with VR and stuff.
Yeah.
So that started as like a weekend thing, figure out what the controls. That's what the camera tilting comes from. But jump forward like a year or so after working on like a couple of rhythm games with like game jams and bunny beats. Came back to it, looked at the prototype again, and it was like, it'd be kind of interesting if shoot 'em ups actually, instead of just like spraying bullets and stuff everywhere, if there's like some sense, rhyme or rhythm.
Some rhythm to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not really a bullet hell. I mean, there is a lot of bullets coming at you at certain points on the screen. I wouldn't say it's overwhelming, in that sense. It's interesting that you mentioned VR. Is this something that you think potentially you could see it ported to VR in some way? How would you handle that as far as like going from, because right now it's all like this control, would you like move your head, or like how would you, or maybe the move controllers or something on a PSVR, or would that be something you would look at eventually, or is that too hard to code?
It's interesting. So on one hand, I think VR would be a pretty interesting scenario for you to see the environment, right? And maybe you either tilt your head or tilt a controller.
Immersive-wise, you really don't get much better than that, yeah.
But in terms of what I guess at the time wanted to take advantage of is that we actually have really good motion controls and motion data now on our phones, especially since they're good enough for VR. But a lot of people don't realize that because they're like, oh, I saw motion controls, it's on the Wii. Or early iPhone games with accelerometers. I shake it, and then, or a gesture, right?
It's a little bit more complicated these days.
Yeah,
These sensors have definitely improved quite significantly.
Yeah.
We played the Android version of this. Is there plans for an iOS version, or is that kind of something in the pipeline, or?
Yeah, Android is first, but after that, we're trying
Is
to
it easier? Because we've talked to a couple developers here, and they all go Android first, and I know that Apple has pretty strict rules on their store, but is it just easier to code for Android and then get it to iOS, or is there a particular reason why you go that route first?
I can say at least for myself, most of our projects are reasonably easy to port to iOS, but for me personally, I have an Android phone and I have a Windows computer.
Makes more sense.
That's the version that I'm most accustomed to. But the other part of it is in order to make something for iOS or iPhone, you need to have a Mac computer to make that build. So since I have a Windows computer, I don't really have that opportunity off the bat.
Makes perfect sense.
But yeah.
And the way that the game is playing right now, so I only played the first level of it, and Keegan did too. I think I'm better than Keegan at this game. I got a little further. He's shaking his head vehemently.
There's some competition here.
You made it to the final wave too? All right, maybe not then. But as far as how it played out, like I said, it was largely sort of techno-y music that we were playing. Yeah. The things are very much timed, as far as you were saying. It's almost like move, shoot, to this kind of German club beat that's going on at the time. But you had mentioned later there's going to be waltzes where it's more like a 1, 2, 3 shoot, or 1, 2 shoot. I don't know how waltzes really would go in that terms. So there's a lot of room, I guess, there for expansion of different musical genres. And is this the type of thing you think it'd be easy to build on top of and just add DLC down the line for it, or?
Yeah, definitely. It's so the current scenario has one piece of music for all the different levels, but I'm diversifying the rhythms or the dances, right, for each level through the enemy design. But yeah, it's definitely possible to like have a different piece of music that also fits the same like structure criteria. Since
Are you a big music fan?
I enjoy music a lot, but I don't have the ear for pitch and.
So you made a music game.
Yeah, I just happen to be in this.
That's
situation.
awesome. Why not, right? I mean, it's a fun game. It's definitely an interesting style as well. I love the kind of the 80s synthwave feel to it. Like it does feel like an arcade game from that era, even like down to the fonts and things like that you use. It's really kind of cool. So what's the ultimate goal here? Let's say that you get your mobile release and that goes swimmingly. Let's say someone donates you a Mac computer and you manage to get it on iOS as well, and then maybe you go on Steam or whatever. Is it something you'd like to eventually see on the Switch, for example, or is that like too far-fetched right now? Is it kind of early days?
I think definitely if I had the opportunity to do so, I think the Switch is a natural fit for it.
I was thinking that, yeah.
Both for the tilt controls, but also like if you wanted to have a control stick version, like the controls are pretty intuitive for that.
Absolutely.
And tech-wise, like unlike a VR game or a 3D game, almost all my assets are in 2D simulation. So I'm told that the Switch works pretty well for those type of games. So
what was the hardest thing about making it so far?
Hardest thing about making it, it's kind of come in bits and pieces. The biggest part has probably been like living up to each level has a dance. So designing the enemies or designing the scenario so you learn and feel that dance. Because I'm not just trying to make a game that's like, oh, you survive tons and tons of bullets. It's like, I want you to feel in a groove.
Involved. Get in the zone.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And that's how you get through.
And where can we learn more about BulletBEAT if we wanted to follow the progression of the game as it releases? If you want to just tell the camera like your Twitter and all that kind of stuff, if you have.
Yeah, so our Twitter is TripleTakeGame, and you can hear all the new news and information for the game there.
There you go. Triple Take Game. It's a really awesome game. I do recommend you guys check it out. Thank you so much for joining me for the chat.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.
No game, but they saying welcome to the second level.